name is Sherry. This will be my very first ever YouTube video. I just want to talk a little bit about Graves' disease, and I know there's lots of other videos out there about it, but nobody ever really gets into the details of the things that you have to deal with Graves' disease. They just say, oh, just go see your doctor, take your meds, don't worry about it, you'll be fine. But there's so much more to having Graves' disease. You can either be hyper or scratch that. You can gain weight, lose weight, you lose your hair, your teeth crumble, your teeth fall out. You can get what's called TED. That's where your eyes, you struggle with your eyes. Things are blurry, you can't see, your eyes are always watering. You get, your fingernails go brittle, and you can get little bumps on your legs, and you're tired all the time, and you're irritable, and you try and explain to people what's going on. Nobody ever wants to listen because they just think you're just complaining because you have nothing better to do in life, because Graves' disease is one of those invisible diseases where you don't see it. So you're constantly trying to tell people, look, I don't feel good, I'm tired, I'm sore, I'm miserable, and you just want to be left alone sometimes, but you know that's not the right thing to do, so you try and get a hold of friends and talk to friends, but I'm getting off track. I wanted to talk about all the side effects and how it's affecting me daily. They say that it can either be inherited through a family member, or it can be brought on by other things. I think mine was brought on by stress, because I didn't even know I had Graves' disease until 2017, and that's about when I lost my son. My son had passed away from a fentanyl overdose, and that's when everything started happening. Just one day I happened to be eating ice cream, of all things, and one of my teeth just broke right off. I was like, okay, went to the dentist, they just fixed it, didn't say anything about it. And then being stressed with him, losing him, more teeth kept crumbling and just breaking, and then I left from where I lived and I went down to Florida, and I stayed down there for a bit because I just needed to get away. I just couldn't deal with it. And then when I came back in 2018, I was fine. I came back to help my dad because my dad was sick, and I still didn't know that I had Graves' disease. I just knew that my teeth had broken and stuff like that. I just thought maybe it was a cavity. And then, like I said, 2018, I came back, everything was fine. I was still stressed, still missing my son, still am to this day. Then 2020, 21, COVID hit. Had to leave my job because nobody could work in the hotels for COVID when it first came out. Then 2000, I could get my dates mixed up, but 20 or 21 in November, I had a stroke. And I knew by then that I had Graves' disease because a couple months earlier I went to the pharmacy to pick up some prescriptions for my dad, and when I was there I was rubbing my chest and talking to the pharmacist, and she just looked at me and she said, you need to go to the emergency room. I didn't really want to go because I didn't think it was a big deal. I said, whatever. I said, I'll go back to work and I'll get one of my coworkers to drive me. And she pretty much could see through that I was lying. So she decided to get one of her workers to drive me to the ER. I got to the ER, I was sitting up getting checked in. They were checking my blood pressure, and they said, you realize your heart rate's only at 51 right now, right? Didn't think anything. I thought that was pretty cool. It's nice and low. Don't have to worry about it. Brought me in, sat on the gurney and waited in the room. The one doctor came in. The one doctor looked at me, looked over me, and said, I have this feeling that you have Graves' disease. I had never even heard of Graves' disease till then. And he said, I'll be right back. I'm going to get our doctor who's a specialist. The doctor comes in. The doctor looked at me. He goes, I just looked over your blood work. Yes, you definitely have Graves' disease. Okay, great. What's Graves' disease? They don't really tell you much when you first find out what it is. You have to do all the research yourself. So that's why I want to start making little videos like this. So if anybody has any questions, they can send me a question and I can answer it for them. Because I can tell them, like, this is what happened to me. This is what's going through. I'm going through it. It sucks. I mean, like I said, you're tired all the time. Some days you're so angry at everybody. You're so grumpy. Like, someone could say hi to you, and within 2 seconds you're screaming at them because they said hi to you, and then you're like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," and they call that Graves rage. It's like, great. So now I'm just gonna start yelling at people for the fun of it, and I can't stop it. That's great. I love that. That's what I want. I want to be able to yell and scream at people. But like I said, there's weight gain. Some people gain weight, some people lose weight. I lost a bunch of weight. I lost like about 50 pounds. And then because I was having so much problems with my thyroid, because that's where Graves' disease is, it's in your thyroid, and that's why you have all the problems. I was having so much problems getting my thyroid under control that we decided that I should have RAI done. So I did that, and then the weight came, and it came, and it came, and I still can't get rid of it. And then on top of that, when you have Graves' disease, you always get followed with another 1 or 2 autoimmunes. I can't even talk today. Means and auto disease means, that's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I had, because of my stroke, I stutter sometimes and I mix up words, but I'll try my best to get this right. So yeah, you get 1 or 2 of them, and I found out that, well, I've always known I have low iron. I don't absorb iron at all. I have to get iron infusions every couple of months, like every 4 months. Can't absorb B12. I have to get B12 shots all the time. And then on top of having Graves' disease and having those, I found out at the beginning of last year I now have type 2 diabetes. So now I'm working on that, trying to get that under control. I'm just trying to think of all the things I can talk about Graves' disease, so that if anyone has any questions that they can ask. I know I'm not doing a very good job of explaining, but it's also my very first video, so I'm a little nervous. I'm just kind of probably screwing it up, but I'm still going to put it out there because it's my first one, and whatever. I just want it out there so that people know that they can come and they can ask about Graves' disease, because I've seen other videos and everyone's saying, oh, it's not that bad, and if you just pray to God, God will fix it, He'll heal you. I'm sorry, but God wouldn't have gave this to me if He wanted me to pray to Him to have me to fix it. He wouldn't have just not gave it to me. I just get so frustrated when I see those videos saying, oh, it's just if you pray to God, God will fix everything for you. No, God will not fix this. This is something God gave me. So, let's see, what else can I tell you? I covered all the angries and the weight gains and the you're skinny, your skin sometimes, you're super itchy, it's dry, you sweat like crazy sometimes, and then sometimes you're freezing, And when you first find out that you have Graves' disease, you also just sit there and your hands shake, your whole body's, you're like this pretty much, and you can't stop. It just doesn't stop. I mean, there's a few times when I had doctor's appointments and my legs were going like that, and I had to tell them I'm okay because they were all freaked out. They thought they had to take me to the ER. And I'm like, no, I have Graves' disease. And as soon as you have the Graves' disease, they're all like, oh, okay. And that's it. It's like, great, okay, so is there anything I could do to get this to stop? Nobody seems to really have the answers because they haven't studied it enough to figure it out. So you have, like I said, you have to research a lot on your own to find out what's going on, which I do. Every time I get another symptom, I look up online and see if that's part of my Graves' disease. Like I said, now I have to deal with Graves' disease, and I have to deal with type 2, and I have low iron, low B12. And it also, if you're a female, because not just females get it, males get it too. Your menstrual cycle can be way out of whack. Like last year, I know this is probably too much information for a lot of people, but last year my menstrual cycle came and it did not stop. And the clots that I was getting were so huge that I had literally passed out in my bathroom at 2 in the morning. When I came to, being stupid, I just kind of cleaned myself up and did all the stuff I need to do, and then I crawled back in bed thinking, oh, I'll be fine. And I got up in the morning and I looked at my mom and I was as white as a ghost, and I just said, I need to go to the ER. I said, there's something seriously wrong. I got to the ER and I was still passing clots the size of, they were huge. That's all I'm going to say. And then they gave me some stuff. I can't remember what it was called because I was pretty out of it, to stop me from bleeding. And I spent a day in there last year, a day and a half, in the ER, in a bed, in a separate little room. They put me in a little room by myself, so I didn't have to deal with anybody until I was okay. And then I got sent home, and I've been fine with that situation since then. So, I mean, there's just all kinds of stuff. I mean, so much that can happen with Graves' disease. And I was going to make this a positive video, but the more I think about it and the more I've got so much I want to say, that I know I'm missing stuff. But like I said, please just ask away. I don't care what the question is, as long as you're not rude, and you can post whatever you want on there on my video. As long as you're not rude, I will answer you. But if you're rude, we're going to have to block you, because I want this to be to help other people. So, I mean, like I said, there's so many symptoms that you have that you don't know that you have Graves' disease. Like, I did not know that. I have probably had Graves' disease for a long time and I didn't know. When the town I lived in before I moved here to take care of my parents, before I went to Florida. I was living in a small town in BC, and I wasn't feeling good then. I was having problems, and I kept being told that it was just a flu, just the flu, just the flu, just the flu. And lo and behold, I had to have my gallbladder taken out. Well, I've been researching that, found out that could have been part of me having Graves' disease and not knowing it. So, and I mean, I put on a lot of weight, and I was pretty active when I lived back there. I don't drive, so I walked pretty much everywhere I went. I walked to work, walked home from work. I had two day jobs and one night job. I know that's a lot, but living where I lived, it paid the bills. And I walked everywhere. I never ever drove anywhere unless I was too far away to where I was going, then I would take a bus. But I'd still get off before I needed to get off and I'd walk. But like I said, I lived closer to downtown at the time, so I just walked everywhere. Like everywhere. Walked to the beach, walked to the stores, grocery shopping, walked to work, walked home. Everywhere I went was with walking distance, but it was good enough that I'd be like a 20-30 minute walk any direction I went into where I had to go. So I was pretty fit back then, and I still tons and tons of weight I put on, and I could not lose it. Didn't matter what I did. I dieted and I dieted and I dieted and exercised and exercised. Joined a gym. Nothing was helping. So since I found out I had Graves' disease, I started researching. Like I said, research is your best friend when you have Graves' disease. So I researched, and apparently it doesn't matter what you do when you have Graves' disease. You can get rid of the weight, but then it comes back if you're not constant on it, non-stop. Like, you have to be more active and more I'm not quite sure exactly what word I'm looking for there, but you have to be more committed. There we go. Committed than even someone who is a weight trainer. You have to be more committed to them to keeping that weight off, because if you don't, you put it all back on. Like, I was walking lots when I came here, and then I stopped because, like I said, I was taking care of my dad, and I didn't want to leave him alone because he was older and he's already fallen twice. So I didn't want to, and I stopped walking everywhere. I stopped going out for walks every day, and I just pretty much stayed at home with him. And I wasn't working because I wasn't allowed to work because of my stroke. So I have put on all that weight back on. So now I've got myself an electric bike, because I know there's no way in hell I'm going to make it up those hills by myself without keeling over. So I got an electric bike. That's once it's warm here, because it's kind of wintry and snowy here right now. But once spring hits, I'm going to be out riding around trying to lose weight. I didn't do anything last year when I got the bike because we were renovating our house. If you look at one of my videos, you'll see the bathroom that we renovated. But this year, I am going to do what I have to do. That's another reason why I'm posting this video. I'm hoping everybody keeps me accountable for this and says, hey, how is that going? How's your fitness going? How's your health journey going? How are you doing? You can do it, I just don't let me slack, whatever you do. I know I don't have any followers right now, but I'm hoping eventually I'll have a lot of followers, and they will just help out. And they'll, like I said, don't be rude. Don't be snarty. Don't be like, oh, look at you. Look how chubby you are. I don't need to be told I'm chubby. I know I'm chubby. I'm trying to lose the weight. I guess that'll be it for now, because said I'm trying to remember all the stuff I need. But like I said, if you leave some questions, if you got questions, I'll answer your questions. I'll tell you what it is, and if I don't know, I will research it myself and I will look it up and I'll tell you if it's part of Graves' disease. But usually, because my brain's a little foggy too I know my stroke was a couple years ago, but my brain's still a little foggy sometimes when I'm trying to remember stuff. But if you bring something up and you say, hey, I have this symptom, is that part of Graves' disease? If I don't know, I'm going to look it up for you. And stuff I don't know, whenever I go and see my doctor, my heart specialist, my Graves' disease specialist, if I don't know, I ask him and he tells me. So I'll let you know. All right. Have a good day. Talk to you next time.